Where did you even find the money to splurge like that?
It was in our joint account.
Are you talking about 30 grand in savings?
Yeah, that's it. What's the problem?
I will buy some souvenirs for you guys. To my astonishment, my husband and mother-in-law had used part of the $30,000 I had saved for our daughter's university tuition and 1 year of school expenses for their vacation. I had reached my breaking point. If that's how you want to play, bring it on. I decided to devise a counter-strike and put it into motion.
Hey, our home is in a serious mess.
My name is Alicia. I'm a 43 years old housewife. I've been married to Simon for 18 years now. We used to work for the same company. He's 3 years my senior and served as my mentor during my probation. We naturally grew closer, making it easier to talk to and consult with him. We used to go out for drinks together for discussion, so meeting after work was quite common for us. It was around the time I passed the probation period that he asked me out on a date, and we started going out seriously. We had a loving relationship, and after about a year of dating, we decided to get married. It was a shotgun wedding. We felt that it was only natural to get married when I got pregnant. We were still young, but we believed that we could handle it together. He was working diligently, and we were confident that we could manage our life without any big issues. We quickly went to meet each other's family. My parents were a bit surprised by the suddenness, but since we both had good jobs, they were more excited about having a grandchild sooner than later. My father-in-law had a similar perspective, but my mother-in-law, Gloria, seemed a bit hesitant. Aren't you only 25? Can you raise a child while working? In response, I assured her that I would be a full-time mom until things settle down with childcare. Well, if that's the case, she looked somewhat dissatisfied. At that moment, I began to suspect that she wasn't really concerned, but might simply be looking for reasons to criticize me. I thought she was the type to belittle her daughter-in-law. I had become cautious of her since then. However, once our daughter Elise was born shortly after our marriage, I didn't have the luxury to worry about such matters. I was so busy, being consumed with childcare every day. I believed becoming a full-time housewife was a good choice. Taking care of a baby the first time was tough, and balancing it with housework was quite a challenge. Being a stay-at-home allowed me to manage both without cutting corners. When Elise entered grade school and became more independent, I started working part-time. It was a short hour of administrative work, but it felt refreshing to be out in the world. Until then, my life had been confined to home, only spending time with my daughter and husband, and seeing a few mommy friends. Going out to work allowed me to interact with people who had different perspectives. It brought a sense of freedom to my life. I saved all the money I earned for Elise's future education. She had grown beautifully. She started learning the piano at an early age and joined the school band in middle school, where she began playing the saxophone. She had a strong passion for music, and I wholeheartedly supported her dedication to practicing her musical instruments. In addition to that, she excelled academically, always maintaining top grades. I never pushed her to study. She was self-motivated and responsible, qualities I deeply admired. I wanted to support her in pursuing the future she desired as much as possible. Then one day, a significant change came to our lives. It was the decision to let Gloria live with us. What prompted this was the passing of my father-in-law due to illness.
I'm worried about Mom living alone. So can she stay with us?
Huh? You mean living together?
Yeah, we have extra rooms, and I already told her.
What? You decided without talking to me?
Yeah, because I don't see any problem, you know.
Simon had decided on his own to let her move in with us. This happened a few years ago when Elise was in her 7th grade. How come you never mentioned it before?
I thought a matter like this was better to decide sooner than later. You know, it takes some time to sell the house too.
Don't tell me it's already sold.
Yeah, it is. So she's coming.
Oh my God. My daughter and I no longer had the option to refuse. Surely, with nowhere else to go, we couldn't reject her moving in with us. Reluctantly, we agreed to live with her. However, I was filled with anxiety. She had harbored hostility toward me, as I had felt when we married. I supposed that it would come to the forefront if we were living together. Such worries occupied my mind. At first, nothing of the sort happened. Unexpectedly, she didn't engage in any harassment toward me, which was a pleasant surprise. I was able to carry on with my life as usual for a while. Well, even so, since she showed no intention of helping with housework, my workload increased. We lived together without any major issues, but after about a year, she gradually started showing her true color. In simple terms, she started to belittle me, just as I had feared. I was disappointed and started thinking about why it took a while for her to change. I realized that she was simply depressed after losing her husband. She was just low-spirited and subdued. Listen, Ashley, I prefer bread for breakfast. I'm sorry, but we are into no-carb breakfast, and Simon prefers to have a light menu too. Are you telling me to adjust to you guys? I've decided to have some bread and scrambled egg. Get it ready quickly. She raised her voice at me. Simon chimed in, saying,
Mom wants it that way, so just do it.
So I reluctantly had to prepare toast and scrambled egg just for her. Moreover, she was extremely picky about the doneness of the eggs. Oh, this is overcooked and too hard. I prefer it a little runny. She scolded me, so I redid it as she wanted. But then, I was scolded again. Why are you making me eat something so undercooked? Are you trying to give me a stomachache by making me eat raw eggs? She accused me like I was intentionally trying to harm her. I was getting fed up with being scolded like that every morning. Simon never defended me and always sided with her. What I realized at that point was that she was quite a mama's boy. I would have assumed that husbands protect their wives, but in his case, he was consistently on her side and blamed me.
Make sure you give her what she wants. You're not intentionally giving her a hard time or anything, right?
I could only sigh at his absurd accusation. Mom, are you okay? It was Elise who expressed concern for me. Thanks for asking, sweetie. Don't worry about me. I'm strong, so I can handle it. Okay, but don't push yourself too hard. I'm always on your side, you know. Just hearing her say that made me feel stronger. After all, I was living for her sake. If I could make her happy, that was all that matters. Simon provided for our family's living expenses, and I had saved quite a bit for Ellie's education through my part-time job. So when I considered giving her a good life, the harassment from Gloria didn't bother me at all. I realized that mothers were truly strong individuals during that time. I continued with my life while enduring the torment. Before I knew it, a few years had passed, and Elise had become a high school student. She had put a lot of effort into her studies, and was able to get into a prestigious academy. Despite usually showing little interest in her, when Gloria found out about her academic achievement, she suddenly started bragging about her to everyone. She even had the nerve to say things like, "I'm sure my guidance had a good impact." I distinctly remember how angry that made me. Afterward, Gloria continued to spend her days as she pleased. While she frequently complained about my housekeeping, she didn't lift a finger to help. She just lays around on the sofa, watching TV and ridiculing me. "Ashley, I want something sweet." "Oh, well, there's pudding in the fridge." "Don't you think you should ask what I want first? You really lack common sense, you know." "So, Gloria, what would you like to eat?" "I'm craving eclairs. Not the ones from the corner bakery, but the ones from the popular patisserie." She meant she wanted me to go and buy them. Since it was more trouble to resist, I reluctantly went out to get what she wanted. She ate them with satisfaction and then went back to lying on the sofa. I wondered if she had nothing else to do except boss me around. She also caused trouble for Elise. It happened during the crucial last year of high school when she was preparing for the SAT. "There it is! Good job, you got it!" Gloria lay on the living room sofa, watching a baseball game and making a lot of noise. Despite Elise studying in her room, she was so noisy that I finally had to speak up. "Gloria, Elise is studying, so could you please keep it down?" When I reprimanded her, she wore a very dissatisfied expression. "Why should I have to be considerate of my granddaughter?" "We live together, so it's important to be considerate of each other, don't you think?" "In that case, you should allow me to indulge in my passion for baseball." "Oh yes, that was a great hit. Follow through." She continued to watch the game, chirling even louder. I had no choice but to ask my parents who lived nearby to let Elise come over and study. They agreed, and I drove her there. I felt bad for imposing on her and my parents, so I reported the situation to Simon. I expected he would address it with Gloria, and the issue would be solved. However, he sided with her once again.
Mom really loves watching baseball. If Elise doesn't mind studying elsewhere, that should solve the problem."
At that moment, it became clear that he valued his mother more than his own daughter. I decided to stop relying on him. I was my daughter's ally, and that was enough. From then on, I started sending her to my parents or to her friend's house to study. Whenever I apologized to her about it, she always responded with a smile and said it didn't bother her at all. With her diligent studies and extracurricular activities, she was successfully accepted into her first choice university. I celebrated her achievement wholeheartedly. Both Simon and Gloria were also delighted at that time. I was quite certain that Gloria would boast about it to others, but I couldn't help that. I waited for Elise's graduation day, wondering what nonsense she would tell people. However, on the day before the graduation, Simon and Gloria said something outrageous. "We're going on a trip to the Bahamas tomorrow." "What? What are you talking about? Tomorrow is Elise's graduation ceremony. Even though it's your daughter's big day, you're going on a trip too?"
I couldn't get days off from work at any other time. Just take lots of pictures for us. I'm going on a sun and sea vacation with Mom.
Seriously?
We will be gone for a week.
A week? Where did you even find the money to splurge like that?
It was in our joint account.
Are you talking about 30 grand in savings?
Yeah, that's it. What's the problem?
We'll buy some souvenirs for you guys. To my astonishment, They had used part of the $30,000 I had saved for our daughter's university tuition and 1 year of school expenses for their vacation. That was saved up for Elise's education.
You can save it up again.
Yeah, don't be so uptight. I had reached my breaking point. Elise was also appalled by their audacity. If they were going to behave this way, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I devised a counter-strike and put it into motion. The next day, they happily prepared to leave the house early in the morning. I immediately contacted my father. He was furious when he heard what had happened and agreed to help with my plan. Okay, Elise, take this. Let's wreck your grandma and your dad's ruins. I handed her a hammer, and we started pounding the walls together, smashing them down. It was quite satisfying for both of us, an excellent stress reliever. A week later, they returned home, and Simon called me in a panic.
Hello? Hey, something terrible has happened at our house.
He sounded frantic.
I think it might be a burglary or something. All our belongings are gone. Not just our stuff, but all the furniture and appliances too. A gang of robbers must have come. We need to report this right away.
He sounded totally freaked out, and I couldn't help bursting out in laughter.
What's so funny? By the way, where are you?
I'm at my parents' house with Elise. We've decided to move out of the house.
What do you mean?
We're getting a divorce.
A divorce? Why all of a sudden?
It's not sudden at all. You've been constantly disappointing both of us. Plus, you used Elise's university funds for a trip without asking. There's no way I can continue our marriage with such a terrible husband, you know.
Hold on. Did you guys destroy our rooms?
Yeah, it felt so satisfying.
You've got to be kidding me. Do you think you can get away with something like this? Where's our stuff anyway?
They're at your brother's place. He was pretty appalled when I explained the situation and agreed to temporarily store them.
What the heck have you done? Do you even realize what you're doing?
It seemed like the phone was on speaker, and Gloria took over. Do you think you can get away with this? You will pay for ruining Simon's house. We will even report it to the police. Go right ahead. You will likely be turned away. Yeah, right. The house is in my name, you know. That's baloney. Oh my. Could it be that Simon has been deceiving you all along for the sake of his pride? My father gave me ownership of one of his properties. Has he misrepresented himself as the owner? This house is yours, right? She asked in a panicked voice. Simon sounded flustered and mumbled incoherently. Simon, speak up!
It's Ashley's.
His confession left her speechless. Oh, and by the way, demolition crews will be coming there tomorrow, so please vacate immediately. If you try to stay, I will report it as trespassing.
Give us a break, will you? We are tired from a long journey.
I don't care. Just get out of my house and never have anything to do with Elise and me again. Then I hung up the phone. Afterward, they left the house out of fear of being reported. I wasted no time and demanded a divorce through a lawyer right away. Simon resisted until the end, but when I informed him that I was willing to go to court, he quickly backed down. And so, I successfully got a divorce from him as fast as possible. And I also secured child support payments. By the way, Simon and Gloria are currently living in a shabby one-bedroom apartment together. Gloria has a history of excessive spending and has exhausted her inheritance. She now appears to be squandering Simon's salary at an alarming rate. I receive messages from him asking for help, but I just ghost him. On the other hand, Elise and I moved in with my parents for the time being. I'm still pursuing a claim for the money that was used without permission. The initial university tuition fee and the first year's expense are covered by my parents. I consider this as a loan, and I plan to work full-time to gradually repay them. Moving forward, I intend to prioritize my daughter and strive to live my life to the fullest.